Good Erev Shabbos Parshas Naso. Middle of this week's Sedra, the Torah tells us, V'chol Truma l'chol Kadshe b'nei Yisrael, all of the Trumas, the gifts that are given to the Kohen, l'chol Kadshe b'nei Yisrael, all of the holy elements that are given by the Yisrael to the Kohen, lo yihiyah, belong to him. So this seems to be a redundant pasuk. That which we give to the Kohen belongs to the Kohen. The Ish's kadashav lo yihiyu, and a person's kadshim refers to the karbanos or the holy gifts which the individual has to give. Lo yihiyah, belong to him. Well, they don't belong to him. They belong to the either the Kohen, or if it's a karban, to Hashem. Asher yitain la Kohen lo yihiyah, that which he gives to the Kohen belong to him. Who does it belong to? The Kohen belongs to him. Seems if it belongs to the Kohen, it's an unnecessary statement. If it belongs to him, then it's also unclear what exactly is that means. So the Midrashim comment on these various psukim. I would like to share with you a few essential messages, which there's a common denominator amongst them. The first is that if we're talking about giving a truma to a Kohen, lo yihiyah, in this case, doesn't mean simply that it belongs to the Kohen. Lo yihiyah means that it is the Medrash says it is the right of the giver, of the donor, to decide which Kohen receives it. And I think that there's an important message here. On the one hand, the donor has to realize that the money doesn't belong to me. It belongs to the Kohen. The crops don't belong to me. They belong to the Kohen. And more broadly, when I give tzedakah, the tzedakah is, I'm just a steward of these funds. They don't belong to me. They belong to the Kohen. Or they belong to the shul. Or they belong to the ani. Or they belong to the yeshiva. The money that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has put in my pocket, that I have the capability of giving tzedakah with, that doesn't belong to me. I am just a steward of those funds. And that is one important message. But by the same token, lo yihiyeh, they belong to me. That is to say, that I have a right to decide who it goes to. And what I believe the deeper message here is that I have a responsibility. And I have to see myself as an active participant. Lo yihiyeh, on the one hand, it's not mine, it belongs to the Kohen. On the other hand, HaKadosh Baruch Hu has put it in my pocket, which means that I have a responsibility to take initiative, to be mindful, to be proactive, to take this money and do something with it, not just let it sit there. And this gets to a second point. The Medrash says, makes another comment that if a person designates their tzedakah funds, in this case their trumas or maasros, they designate, but they don't actually give it to the Kohen. It's a terrible, terrible thing. It can actually lead to all types of awful consequences, as in the next story, which is of the in the parsha, which is the story of Sota, a person who takes control over their funds and says it's mine. Oh well, it's not exactly mine, but I'm not giving it to you. I'm gonna designate it as meiser. I'm gonna put it in my tzedakah account. I have a tzedakah account that has $1 million in it, but I'm not giving it to anybody. I'm not gonna use it myself, but I'm not giving it to you. There's a certain rishus. There's a certain cruelty in that. So it is to say that on the one hand, money doesn't belong to me. It's not mine. On the other hand, I have a deep-rooted responsibility. On the third hand, as Tavi used to say, on the third hand, it is not sufficient for me simply to designate it as tzedakah. I have to see it through to the end. It's not good enough that I understand that it's not mine, that I'm not making use of it. But I have to see it through to the end and make sure that the funds are being used and used well for the ani, for the kohen, for karbanos. I have to make sure. I have to take it through and see it through to the end. There's yet another medrash. And the other medrash can be summed up in the following words. You can take it with you. We have a phrase, an idiom, that you can't take it with you. That after we go to the Olam Emes, after we die, after 120 years, all the physical, material acquisitions of this life stay stay here. We can't take it with us. And it's true. But here the Torah tells us another important message, and that is you can take it with you. The Torah says, "V'chol truma asher yakrivu lakohen lo yihiyeh." That which you give to the kohen, lo yihiyeh, means belongs to me, the giver. V'ishus kadashav, and the karbanos, all of the holy donations, lo yihiyeh. They don't belong to the kohen, they don't belong to the mikdash, they belong to me. Asher yitain la kohen, and everything that I give to the kohen, lo yihiyeh. Doesn't mean it belongs to him, it belongs to me. Meaning, that is to say, that you can take it with you. And the only thing you can take with you is that which you give away. That which we dedicate to Kedusha, that which we dedicate to the Mikdash, that which we dedicate to the Kohen, that which we give to others, whether it's more broadly Meiser Ani, or any type of giving which takes me out of which takes my belongings, my possessions, my time, my energy, my initiative, which takes it out of myself and provides for others. That is what I take with me. It is paradoxical that when it comes to truma, to kudshim, to things in which I have to take out of my pocket and give to the others, the Torah says, "Lo yihiyeh," it's actually mine. What I give is what I own. Now, Kadosh Baruch Hu give us the wisdom and the strength of character to be able to give, so that way we ultimately will be able to take. Good Shabbos.